Story 1. The man in the parking lot. It happened about 4 years ago when I was still in college. I was 20 at the time, and I worked the late shift at a grocery store near my campus. The store closed at midnight, and since I was one of the younger employees, I often got stuck with closing duties. That meant stocking shelves, cleaning aisles, and locking up the back room. By the time I finished, it was usually close to 1 a.m. The store was in a small shopping center. And at night, the parking lot turned into a dark, empty stretch of asphalt with only a handful of flickering light poles. Most of the other employees left before me, so I usually walked out alone. On this particular night, I remember clearly, was mid-November, cold enough that I could see my breath. The air had that crisp, eerie stillness that made the silence feel heavier. My car was parked all the way in the back row, since I had been late to my shift and the closer spots were taken. As I pushed open the glass doors, the automatic lights above me clicked off. I had officially closed the store. I slung my backpack over my shoulder, rubbed my arms for warmth, and started across the lot. That's when I noticed him. A man was standing about 2 rows away from my car. He wasn't moving, wasn't pacing, just standing there, hands shoved deep in the pockets of a heavy jacket. His head was tilted slightly downward, like he was watching the ground, but I could feel his attention locked on me. At first, I thought maybe he was another late worker from one of the other shops in the plaza, but every store had been closed for hours. The hair on the back of my neck prickled. I slowed my pace just slightly, trying not to make it obvious that I was uneasy. I gripped my car keys tight in my fist, the metal teeth pointing outward like some makeshift weapon. The man took 1 step forward, then another. His shoes scraped against the asphalt, echoing in the quiet. He was walking in a straight line toward me, not toward the store, not toward another car, just directly at me. "Hey," he said, his voice low and raspy. "Hey, you got a light?" I shook my head quickly. "Sorry, no, I wasn't a smoker, and even if I had been, there was no way I would have stopped." His tone wasn't casual, it was too forced, too deliberate, like the words were an excuse just to make contact. He kept walking, faster now. His hands were still in his jacket pockets. I couldn't see what he was holding. If anything, my stomach dropped. Instinct screamed at me to move. I turned, quickened my pace, and unlocked my car with trembling hands. Behind me, I heard him mutter something, then his footsteps sped up into a jog. I yanked the driver's side door open and threw myself in, slamming it shut, just as his shadow fell across the side of my car. My hands fumbled the keys, my pulse thundering in my ears. Then bang, slapped his palm flat against my window. The sound made me jump, my heart leaping into my throat. I looked up, and for the first time, I saw his face clearly. His eyes were wide, bloodshot, with dark circles underneath, like he hadn't slept in days. His mouth hung open just slightly, revealing yellowed teeth. His expression wasn't angry, it was hungry. "Open the door," he hissed. I jammed the key into the ignition, praying it wouldn't stall. The engine roared to life. He yanked the handle, but I had locked it. His other hand pounded against the glass, hard enough that I thought it might shatter. "Open it," he screamed. I slammed the car into reverse, tires screeching as I backed out crookedly. He stumbled, but didn't let go of the handle right away, dragging alongside the car until he finally lost his grip and fell back. I didn't stop to look. I sped out of the lot, turning onto the main road, my chest heaving with shallow, panicked breaths. I didn't slow down until I was miles away. When I finally pulled over under the glow of a street light, my hands were still shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. I dialed 911 and told them what had happened. By the time officers arrived at the shopping center, the man was gone. No witnesses, no security footage clear enough to identify him. It was like he vanished into the night. For weeks afterward, I couldn't shake the sound of his palms slapping against the glass. That split-second image of his face pressed to my window still visits me in nightmares. And the scariest part, the police told me that wasn't the first report. Other people in town had described a man lurking in that same lot, always at night, always approaching people who were alone, but they never caught him. To this day, whenever I walk to my car at night, I keep my keys ready and my head on a swivel, 'cause I guarantee know if he is still out there waiting for someone else to cross the lot alone. Story 2. The Stranger on the Highway Shoulder. It was the summer of 2018, and I had just started a new job that required me to commute about an hour each way. Most of my shifts ended late, so I was used to driving home around midnight. The roads were usually empty, just a long stretch of highway surrounded by dense forest and the occasional truck stop. That night was hot, even with the windows rolled down. The air smelled like pine and asphalt. My headlights cut through the darkness, and my favorite late-night radio station played faintly in the background. It was the kind of drive that lulls you into a false sense of comfort until something jolts you awake. About 30 minutes into the drive, I noticed a figure on the shoulder up ahead. At first, I thought it was a deer, or maybe some kind of animal, but as I got closer, the shape straightened, and I realized it was a person. A man. He was standing unnaturally still, facing the road, as if waiting for me to approach. His arm was raised, thumb out like he was hitchhiking, but something about it felt wrong. His posture was stiff, his body language too deliberate. Normally, I might have slowed down to check if he needed help after all. The highway was deserted, and there were no houses or businesses around for miles. But every instinct in me screamed not to stop. I gripped the steering wheel tighter and kept my speed steady, pretending I didn't notice him. As I passed, I glanced in the rearview mirror. He wasn't holding his thumb out anymore. Instead, his arm was lowered, and he was staring directly at my car, head turning slowly to follow me as I drove past. Even in the dim red glow of my taillights, I could see his face, pale, hollow-eyed, his mouth curved into the faintest, strangest grin. A shiver ran down my spine. I pressed harder on the gas, desperate to put distance between us. The road stretched out endlessly, and after a few minutes, I started convincing myself it was nothing. It's just some guy stranded, maybe drunk, maybe homeless. Creepy, sure, but harmless. Then I saw him again. About 5 miles down the road, there was another figure standing on the shoulder. Same build, same jacket, same posture, thumb out, waiting. My stomach dropped. There was no way he could have gotten there on foot, not that fast. I stared at him as I passed, my heart hammering in my chest. And when I looked in the rearview mirror this time, it was already stepping onto the road, walking into the lane behind me. I floored the gas pedal. The engine roared as I sped down the empty highway. knuckles white on the steering wheel. My mind raced with questions I couldn't answer. Was I imagining it? Were there two of them? Or was it something else entirely? The trees on either side blurred into a wall of black. My headlights cut deeper into the night. I didn't dare slow down. Finally, up ahead, I saw the glowing sign of a 24-hour gas station. Relief surged through me as I pulled into the lot, the bright fluorescent lights washing away the suffocating darkness of the highway. I parked near the entrance, got out, and rushed inside. The clerk behind the counter gave me a confused look as I paced around, trying to catch my breath. "Everything all right?" Kay asked. I nodded quickly, though my voice shook when I replied, "Yeah, just long night." I stayed in that gas station for nearly half an hour, pretending to browse the shelves, sipping on a bottle of water I didn't really want. When I finally convinced myself it was safe, I went back outside. The highway stretched into the dark, empty as far as I could see. Before I got into my car, I glanced toward the tree line near the edge of the lot, and there he was, half hidden in the shadows, standing just beyond the reach of the lights. His pale face barely visible, his body rigid, watching me. I jumped back into my car and sped away, too terrified to look in the mirrors this time. I didn't stop until I was home, every door locked, every curtain pulled shut. To this day, I don't know who or what I saw out there, whether it was one man somehow appearing in places he shouldn't, or several identical figures waiting for passing cars. But I'll never forget the way his eyes locked on mine as I drove past, and that grin stretched too wide to be human. Story 3. The Man at the Grocery Store Parking Lot. It was a Wednesday evening in early fall when this happened. I was living in a smaller suburban town at the time, and my life was pretty uneventful. Work, home, repeat. That night, I had stopped by the local grocery store on my way home from work, because I needed to pick up a few things for dinner. It was one of those mid-sized stores, not a huge chain, but not a corner shop either. The kind of place where you usually recognize a few faces if you go often enough. It was around 8:30 p.m. when I pulled into the parking lot. The sun had already gone down, and the only lights came from the lamps spaced around the lot. They gave off this dull orange glow that barely lit the pavement. The lot wasn't empty, but it wasn't busy either. A scattering of cars here and there, a few people going in and out. I parked my car toward the middle of the lot and grabbed a reusable bag from the back seat. As I got out, I noticed someone sitting alone in the car a few spaces down. At first, I didn't think much of it. Lots of people wait in their cars. But when I glanced again, I saw the man was staring directly at me. Okay? Not casually, not like he just happened to look over. His face was turned fully toward me, unmoving. I brushed it off, told myself maybe he was zoning out or waiting for someone. I walked into the store, got my groceries, and tried to forget about it. Inside, everything felt normal. The store was quiet, just a handful of shoppers. I picked up what I needed, some pasta, sauce, and a few snacks. But I couldn't shake this prickling feeling in the back of my neck. It's like someone was watching me, even as I pushed the cart down the aisles. At one point, when I stopped near the frozen section, I thought I saw a reflection behind me in the glass doors. A man standing a few feet away, just kind of lingering. I turned quickly, but the aisle was empty. I told myself I was being paranoid. Still, I hurried to finish and went straight to the checkout. When I stepped outside with my bag, the lot felt eerily quiet. A couple of cars pulled out, leaving long shadows stretching across the pavement. I looked toward where I had parked earlier, and my stomach dropped. The man's car was still there, but now he was standing outside of it. He was tall, maybe 6 feet, with a thin build. His clothes looked average jeans, a hoodie, but something about the way he stood made my skin crawl. He wasn't leaning on the car or checking his phone. He was just standing there, facing me, motionless. I felt my pulse quicken. First instinct was to act like nothing was wrong. I walked steadily toward my car, keeping my eyes forward, but every step made me more aware of how quiet the lot had become. The crunch of gravel under my shoes felt deafening. As I got closer to my car, I realized his vehicle was parked only 2 spaces away from mine. That meant I'd have to walk almost right past him. My grip tightened on the grocery bag, and I quickened my pace. When I was maybe 10 feet from my car, I heard it. "Hey." His voice was low, flat, almost monotone. Ignored it, unlocked my car with the remote, and opened the door. I slid inside as quickly as I could, locking the doors immediately. My hand shook as I set the bag down on the passenger seat, but before I could even start the engine, he spoke again. This time, louder. "You live around here?" I froze. He was standing closer now, just outside the glow of the parking lot lamp. I could barely make out his face, but I could feel his eyes on me. He didn't respond. I just started the car, praying it would turn over quickly. Thankfully, it did. I put it in reverse, trying to keep my movements calm and controlled. As I backed out, I saw him step closer into the light. His expression was blank, but his eyes looked wrong, cold, almost lifeless. I pulled away faster than I meant to, the tires squealing a little as I turned toward the exit. My heart was pounding. I glanced in the rearview mirror, and that's when I saw it. He was walking to his car. I didn't wait to see what would happen next. Drove straight out of the lot and down the main road, taking turns at random to make sure he wasn't following me. Every time I glanced in the mirror, I expected to see headlights tailing me. But the fear didn't leave me. Even when I pulled into my driveway, I sat in the car for several minutes, scanning the street, making sure I was really alone. That night, I double-checked every lock in the house. I even pushed a chair under the doorknob like I was a kid again. It's the worst part. 4 weeks afterward, I saw that same car parked in random spots around town, at the gas station, near the library, even once down the street from my job. Always the same car, always alone, and always with that same man sitting inside, staring. I never told anyone. I never called the police. What would I say? Kai keeps looking at me weird. It sounds ridiculous. But I know what I saw, and I know the way he made me feel. It's like prey. And to this day, whenever I go out at night, I can't help but scan every car in the lot, just in case he's still out there, waiting. Those were 3 creepy, true stranger encounter stories that will make you think twice the next time you re-out alone. Each one is a chilling reminder that not all dangers hide in the dark sometimes. They're standing right in front of us. Which story unsettled you the most? Was it the man at the diner, the figure on the highway shoulder, or the stranger in the grocery store lot? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed true horror stories like these, Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next terrifying tale. Until next time, stay safe and stay aware.